Hello, my friend.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
May I ask you what you're doing here at this late hour?
I'm conducting an investigation about the epidemic in this part of town.
And who are you, sir?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed from the Pembroke Hospital. May I ask who you are and why all the questions?
I'm Detective Inspector Charles Albright from Scotland Yard. And I don't find your answers convincing. What is a Pembroke doctor doing in the West End at this time of night?
I work for the Ascalon Club. Here is my permit to go freely about the city.
The Ascalon Club? You should have said so, sir. I must warn you, these streets are dangerous. And you'd better be careful.
Ah, okay, also eigentlich gut, dass wir schon waren, ne? Dass wir hier noch nicht waren.
What can you tell me about this district?
I'm the one asking questions, especially when there's a killer on the loose.
What killer?
I'm not going to discuss that with the civilians, sir.
Haven't I told you about the investigation I'm conducting? Perhaps I could help you.
All right, without giving you too much information, I'll tell you this. I'm convinced there is a homicidal maniac on the loose, using the epidemic to disguise his kills.
And what about the epidemic?
We both know the situation is critical, don't we, Doctor? Colleagues of mine die almost every day.
Why are you investigating at night?
Criminals rarely act in daylight, you know. But since you are also a night worker, have you noticed anything strange which requires police attention?
Jeffrey McCallum. Jeffrey McCallum. Jetzt muss ich mal ganz kurz überlegen. Jeffrey McCallum. Ausgesaugt. Jeffrey McCallum.
I'd like to report a name, Inspector. Jeffrey McCallum. I'm afraid he's some sort of vigilante, trying to recruit an army of angry citizens.
Then I'll write the name down and
Ach, das war der Typ, dieser... Ja, jetzt weiß ich, wer das ist.
Thank you, sir.
What are you really doing here?
I told you. I'm a detective inspector from Scotland Yard, investigating suspicious cases in the area.
Do you work alone?
Yes, the situation is difficult for the police. Many of us are sick, and since the summer strike, most men apply a work to rule on their patrols.
What about the situation in the East End? Why are there no police there to protect the civilians?
I know, it's a shame, but we just don't have enough men to cover the entire city.
Okay.
What are you investigating, exactly?
I have a missing woman, possibly abducted a few nights ago. Louise Teasdale. It seems you already found my other missing person, Mr. Tadao Kimura.
Tell me about Louise Teasdale.
She's a waitress. Her father reported her missing. We don't have enough men to search for her, sadly.
Do you have any idea where she could be?
No, but I feel she's been abducted. She went to a pub a few nights ago and vanished. I thought about the sewers, but I'm not equipped for such an investigation.
Genau, da haben wir sie gefunden.
What are you investigating?
I have a missing...
Tell me,
No.
Ja. Wieso sagen wir ihm nicht, dass wir sie gefunden haben? Oh, echt jetzt?
Tell me all you know about that homicidal maniac you're looking for.
I'm not even sure there is only one. The wounds are always the same, but the modus operandi varies. Sometimes violent and brutal, sometimes precise and swift.
How could different killers inflict the same wounds?
That's my main problem. If my theory is correct, maybe we're facing a group of individuals sharing the same violent tendencies. Perhaps a sadist cult.
Okay.
Do you know anything in particular about a man called Aloysius Dawson?
Who doesn't know the man? I think he intervened personally to put an end to the police strike of last August.
What else can you tell me about him?
Aloysius Dawson is exactly the kind of powerful and influential man who could commit murder and get away with it. With just one phone call.
Okay. Stufe 5 gibt's auch noch,
Detective
okay?
Inspector Albright.
Goodbye, Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
I think so, I think so. Wen haben wir denn hier Nettes?
Good evening, Miss Price. I'm Dr. Reed. Do you remember me?
Dr. Reed? Yes, of course. You are the doctor who healed me and my mum. Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Good to see you too, Carol. Are you all right?
Oh, yes. I did not hurt myself recently. I know how to take care of myself now. I'm almost a grown-up.
Why are you awake at night, Carol?
I am helping my mother in her shop. It's not easy, but I'm a grown-up now.
Deine Mutter muss stolz sein. Jo, vielleicht.
I'm sure your mother is grateful for your help.
I do the best I can. But I'm so clumsy sometimes. I drop things. I injure myself. It's a good thing my mother has the patience of an angel.
Sind trottelig, die Frau, ne? Die ist gesund.
Why is work not easy? Is something or someone bothering you?
Oh no, most people are gentle with me. But I'm so nervous sometimes. I pay no attention and hurt myself. Good thing my mum learned first aid.
Könnte helfen. Price, okay? Carolyn Price. Carol und Carolyn. Ja, einfallsreich.
What can you tell me of the people living nearby?
I don't speak to many people, except our customers. It's not easy to make friends. And with the epidemic, it's even more difficult.
What can you tell me about the epidemic?
Some of our regular customers have left London. Some others only send their housemaids now. Everybody fears the contagion. I've even seen men with weapons.
Hat uns gerade jemand gerufen?
Have you no friends at all?
No. Mr. Nithercote used to pass by and was always nice to me.
Does he not come by anymore?
No. Mum said he was weird. Always reciting poetry about a girl he'd met in Whitechapel. I wonder who this camellia may be.
Nethercourt. Wer war das nochmal? Camellia war ja hier, naja. Richard Nethercourt. Ah, okay.
Do you enjoy working with your mother?
Oh yes, Doctor. My mother raised me alone after my father died. We've always lived together, and she has always watched over me.
Do you remember your father?
No, I was just a baby then. My mother always told me how strong and good he was.
Das Gesicht ist irgendwie kommt mir irgendwie bekannt vor. Der Nethercott, der sieht tatsächlich ein bisschen... Die Gesichtszüge, also abgesehen davon, dass er ein bisschen aussieht wie Benedict Cumberbatch, aber... Die haben ein bisschen Ähnlichkeit, finde ich.
Do you ever think about getting married now you're a woman?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. Mum always says I'm still a child who has no idea how tough life can be. No husband would like a clumsy girl like me.
Ach, komm. Und ich finde so, das Gesicht sieht ein bisschen aus, ich weiß nicht, ob ihr das Little Nightmares Spiel gespielt habt. Ich finde, sie sieht aus wie einer der Gäste. Okay, wir kennen sie, Alois Dawson.
Have you ever met the famous Aloysius Dawson?
Yes, a very strange man. Not very nice.
What do you
Richtig.
mean?
He said he was ready to pay good money for rare books, and then laughed at what we showed him.
Mhm, okay.
Goodbye, Carol.
Carol. Tschüss, Carol.
Good morning. Good evening, sir.
I hope you can stay a little longer this time.
Also diesmal, ich war noch nie hier. Kalender für das Jahr 1918. Ah, okay. Für unser Land, für unsere Freiheit, für unsere Familien. Chaka. Meine liebe Dame.
Good evening, Miss Price. How are you tonight?
Dr. Reed, I didn't know you had returned from the war. I had a new doctor when you left, but he's not as kind as you.
Always glad to see a former patient in good condition. It's been a long time.
Too long indeed. And as a token of my appreciation, I'll grant you the best price if you fancy buying anything from my humble shop.
Okay.
Carol's gratitude is exemplary. She seems determined never to leave you.
I'm taking care of my daughter as well as I can. It's not always easy, but she's the best gift life gave me.
But she'll probably leave you someday to live her own life. Will that be difficult for you?
Why would she leave? Children sometimes stay with their parents until the end, for they know no one else will love them as much.
Erzählen Sie mir von Ihrem Beruf.
What can you tell me about yourself, Miss Price?
I'm still managing my shop. The only difference is, since the quarantine, we're open at night. You, on the contrary, seem to have changed a lot.
Really? Have I changed that much? It must have been the war and the night shifts since my return.
Don't get me wrong, Dr. Reed, you're still handsome. Just maybe a little bit wiser, more serious. It suits you well.
Tell me more about yourself. No new fiancé? I remember you were hoping to get remarried. I'm sure you must have a few suitors.
Who would marry an old bat like myself with a grown daughter and a little business?
Wer weiß.
As you know, I only fancy handsome men like yourself.
Okay.
Have you noticed anything in particular in this part of town recently?
Other than you coming back to cheer me up? Nothing at all, Dr. Reed.
Okay. Okay, das haben wir ja durch. Und dann persönliche Fragen.
Does your daughter still worry you, Miss Price? I remember you were often concerned about her health when she was younger.
Have you not seen Carol since you returned? She's almost a young woman now. But she'll always remain my sweet little baby.
So you're less afraid?
Some things never change. Carol is still too clumsy for her own good. Sometimes her innocence puts her in real danger.
Okay.
Why would her innocence put her in danger?
She does not realize how cruel life can be. Maybe I was a bad mother to protect her too much. My poor dear Carol.
You have every reason to be cautious, Miss Price. Especially
Warum macht sie so
in these
Redebewegungen, wenn sie gar nicht redet?
Maybe you could talk with her, Dr. Reed. It would be nice to have a man here more often. We would both feel safer.
Okay. Ich weiß ja nicht, ne?
May I look at your goods, Miss Price?
It's
Ja.
always a pleasure to have you here, Dr. Reed. Take all the time you need.
Sehr gut, sehr gut, sehr gut. Du bist eine sehr, sehr freundliche Frau, muss ich sagen. Wiederverkaufswert. Den Rest könnten wir... Den Rest könnten wir wiederverwerten.
I hope you can stay a little longer this time.
Warte mal. Wollte ich gar nicht. Ich wollte sie noch
Good evening, Miss
fragen.
Price.
You know you can call me Carolyn, my dear doctor.
My dear doctor.
Do you know Aloysius Dawson?
Everybody knows him. He's only been to my shop once, though, looking for rare books and other intriguing antiques.
Did he buy something from you?
No, he left quickly. He almost laughed at my goods. Mr. Dawson may be a rich man, but you can't buy good manners.
But isn't Aloysius Dawson known for his philanthropy?
That was before his brother Robert died in an aeroplane crash. Since then, the remaining twin has turned into a heartless tycoon.
Okay. Zwilling.
Goodbye for now, Miss Price.
Könnte
I
gut
hope
zu
you
wissen
stay a
sein.
little longer this time.
It's locked, all right.
It's a locked, alright. Okay, Achso, die ist bestimmt durch die eine Tür gegangen. Hier ist er. Hallo. Hallo, hallo, hallo.
Good
Nicht so
evening,
schnell.
sir. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I be of assistance?
Dr. Reed? Dr. Reed?
Is there anything wrong?
No, it's just... Your name sounds familiar. And your face. Have we met before?
I think I would remember. So I suppose the answer is no.
That's odd. I'm certain I've already heard of you. My name is Pericles Baker. Does that mean anything to you?
I'm afraid not, sir. But it's a pleasure to meet you anyway.
The pleasure is mine, I guess. I only wish I could remember when it was that we met.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Baker. What are you doing out here in the middle of the night?
We are waiting. Waiting for someone.
And why are you waiting for this person?
Because we need to leave this city. As soon as possible.
Why do you want to leave the city?
I'm not really sure.
Can you tell me anything about this district?
As you like asking questions so much, would you allow me to ask you one first?
Please, be my guest.
Do you like this city?
I know we are not living in the most peaceful of times, but I have learned to appreciate London's complexity.
Yes, me too. This city tests us. It invites us to find ourselves, to discover our true nature scattered throughout its dark streets.
But what if we don't like what we find?
Do we ever know who we are? I wonder sometimes. Or maybe it is the journey to find out who we are that changes us.
And what do you do, sir? For a living, that is.
I stopped working when I decided to leave. When I realized what I wanted. Wanted something this city can't provide.
But what were you doing before you took this decision?
Does it really matter anymore? Considering the past seems so pointless to me. I have lived in this city all my life. And now I think it's over.
Tell me more about why you want to leave London, then.
I just don't belong here anymore. I had to convince my brother to leave London because I know we need to find another life out of the city.
Auch er ist gesund. Krass. Alle gesund hier.
Who are you waiting for? I'm sure he has a name.
I really can't answer that question, since I don't know that person.
And why is that?
This person is mostly my brother's acquaintance. I don't even know his real name. Only that this man could help us leave this city once and for all.
But why would you need this person's help to leave London anyway?
Well, I thought we should have left this cursed place already, but my brother convinced me to stay a while longer, and here we are.
Okay.
What can you tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
I've heard this is a man who has searched for his place in the world for a long time. I hope he found it.
Ja.
Goodbye, Mr. Baker.
Das ist der Bruder.
Good evening, sir. I am Dr. Jonathan Reed. Do you need my help?
Yes, please. Would you be kind enough to tell me what the time is?
That's all you need to know.
Well, is it not important to know? As important as where you are? Or who you are?
I suppose you're right. And who are you then, sir?
I am Agamemnon Baker. Like my brother, I think we need to leave this city immediately. And my brother and I rarely agree on anything.
Okay, und er ist auch gesund.
May I ask what you're doing outside at this hour of night?
I don't know. You should ask my brother instead. It was his idea in the first place.
You must have your own ideas.
From what I have managed to understand, I guess we're supposed to wait here. Waiting for someone to come.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
It's the only place I've considered myself happy. Or at least that's what I believe. Unfortunately, it's time to leave.
Why is that?
Because I'm not feeling happy here anymore. Are you?
Das ist meine Heimatstadt. Natürlich fühle ich mich hier wohl.
I still enjoy living in London, no matter how difficult it can be sometimes.
Then I am sincerely happy for you. True happiness in life seems to be the most difficult goal to reach these days.
May I ask why you've not gone already, if you're so exasperated by this long wait?
I believe fear is holding us back. My brother would have said it's laziness, but it's just because he's prouder than I am.
What can you tell me about your brother?
Oh, der
He's
sitzt direkt
older than
daneben.
me, I think. But the important thing is that I really hope I'll die before him. Grief would just kill me, you know?
Is that all?
Pericles is very attached to this city, and without my insistence, he would never leave this place. We don't often agree on anything, you see.
Okay.
Who are you waiting for exactly?
The more I think about it, the more I believe it's not exactly a person we are waiting for.
But what else could it be then?
I don't know. A feeling? An event? An impulse? How can I tell? Something that would allow us to leave this trap.
I'm afraid I'm not following you. What kind of trap are you talking about?
Have you ever felt like life trapped you in a role that does not fit you? That you're not in your place? That sort of trap.
Okay.
Trap? And you think leaving London will free you?
At least it will give us the chance to be free. That's more than our present situation. Hope, Doctor. Hope is what truly drives mankind.
Das stimmt aber. Da hat er nicht Unrecht.
What can you tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
You should ask that question to my brother instead. Personally, I've not seen Aloysius for many years.
Okay.
Goodbye for now.
Als hätte er keine eigene Meinung, ne? Fragen Sie meinen Bruder hier, fragen Sie meinen Bruder da. Hab ihn seit Jahren nicht gesehen. Oh, ich kann die Tür öffnen, ne? So. Sehr schön. Dann können wir jetzt auch hier durch. Ein Anwesen betreten. Sind wir hier auf seinem Anwesen? Ich weiß das gerade gar nicht, muss ich ehrlich sagen. Das ist ja irgendwie, als wäre das da sein Anwesen. Hat ja gar nichts mehr mit Reichtum zu tun. Das ist ja einfach nur krass. War das? Unbekannt.
Perhaps London will survive the epidemic, but I see terrible trials awaiting in the future.
Er wirkt wie ein komischer Kauz.
A Red River, a song in the dark.
Ja, gleich. Okay, nichts.
Whispers of a sun. So many signs to interpret.
Okay.
Jonathan Reed. At last we meet. The cards warned me you would visit tonight.
I beg your pardon, sir. Do I know you?
Of course you do. Our mutual friend, Dr. Swansea, can't speak highly enough of you. My name is Usher. Usher Talltree.
You are the leader of the Brotherhood.
He's up, A-Town.
Primate of the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole, to be precise. I'm really glad we met tonight. I love it when the cards tell me a truth.
The cards told you to expect me.
Yes, they tell me everything. They told me that you struggle hard not to take too many lives.
Okay. Spannend.
What can you tell me about the neighborhood?
I really don't know. I don't often go outside. And when I do, it's usually to quite distant destinations.
So you see nothing in the stars for me? You're a poor fortune teller then.
Oh, I can tell you many things, but they will only concern you, not the city. For example, I know that you offered your sister the final rest she asked for.
Okay.
Read my fortune then.
You have been chosen, Jonathan. I see on you the mark of a strong being, so powerful it needn't even reveal its strength.
Do the cards speak of my Mary?
No. It's the burning aura of guilt that precedes you everywhere you go.
Okay, nett. Er ist gesund.
Tell me about yourself. What do you do here, besides turning cards in the middle of the night?
I'm for most a charlatan. For a few, I'm a vampire. And for you, I'm the primate of St. Paul's Stole.
Okay.
Some believe you to be a vampire. Who?
The guard of Priwen, who else? For a time, they sent spies to observe my activities, and they even broke into my home to gather proof.
Did they steal anything from you?
A personal notebook they quickly took to their headquarters. All they had to do is to look at me. I'm aging. What better and definite proof that I'm not an immortal?
Do you want your notebook back?
If you ever find it, I'd be glad to have it back, of course. I do ask one thing, though. Do not read it, Jonathan. Some secrets are not meant to be revealed, even to immortals.
For how long have you been a primate?
It was 15 years last year.
What do you make of Dr. Swansea?
Edgar is a brilliant and dedicated man. A man of his time, sometimes a little muddled, but always looking for new paths and new concepts.
Can you read the cards for me?
Are you sure you want to know what they will reveal?
Ja.
Yes, I am.
It will cost you 150 shillings.
Echt jetzt? Wie viel haben wir denn? Wo sehe ich das denn? Ach komm, was soll der Geiz?
Here is the money.
The Iron Maiden. A woman. Angry. Fierce. A healer turning into a warrior. She's ready to arm herself and hunt you down if you push her too far.
Pippa Hawkins. Hä? Was?
Can you read the cards for me?
Put the money on the table then, Jonathan, and open your mind.
Mal schauen, ob er jetzt noch was anderes erzählt.
Here is the
Nochmal,
money.
komm,
A
egal.
soldier. A man unable to change his course. Seen by many as a danger. A loving father.
Joe Peterson. Okay, nochmal.
Can you read the cards?
Jetzt werde ich
Put the money on the
neugierig.
table then, Jonathan, and open your mind.
Here is the money.
The alchemist. A wise and cunning mind who lives by lying to all but himself. He sells false promises
Der Blinde.
and is proud of it.
Ah! Krass, okay.
Can you read the cards for me?
Put the money on the table then, Jonathan.
Ja, machen wir.
Here is the money.
Love, pure and unseen, untold. The two hearts love each other without knowing it, without daring to admit it.
Christina Popper und der Typ, ne? Ja, Clayton Darby. Okay. Habe ich mir schon fast
Can you
gedacht.
read the cards for me?
Put them...
Here is the money.
The hunter, a good heart in disguise. A liar willing to help for real. An armed man unable to strike.
Throckman und... Ach, das war's. Wie viel Geld habe ich noch? Krieg ich meine ganze Kohle. Okay, einmal machen wir noch.
Can you read the cards?
Put the money on the table.
Here.
The Joker. A woman bent to obey and debase herself. A cruel gaze in the dark. A monster laughing at you.
Karina Billow. Okay. Das war's.
How do you measure the amount of blood on my hands?
I told you. The cards always tell the truth. Well, most of the time.
Is it possible to tell me my future?
A vampire's fate is much more delicate to read, Doctor. But I can try.
All right.
Okay.
Let me hear it.
Let's
The walls
go.
of your prison have already been raised, Jonathan. But you will freely accept to be locked inside, full of hope for a better day.
Okay.
I would rather not know. How do you...
I told
Is
you.
it...
Das wissen wir.
Oh,
Ah, dann bleibt das
how
weg.
did you
Okay.
learn about Mary? And spare me the hocus-pocus parlor tricks. The truth, now!
Swansea told me. Don't look at me like that. His task is to observe and gather information about vampires. He had to tell me about Mary.
Mary did not deserve her fate. She had already suffered enough during her life. And yet the pain and the suffering went on after her death.
Suffering is part of the immortal condition. Some prefer to lose their minds rather than face the simple truth. Pain will never stop.
Ja, womöglich, ne? Die Bruderschaft.
May I ask you about the Brotherhood?
Of course. But I must warn you that there are some subjects we consider taboo, in spite of our fondness and acceptance of your kind.
I know there is no love lost between the Guard of Priwen and the Brotherhood. What caused this rift?
It was 1801. The Brotherhood was stronger then, a strength that made them hungry for ever greater power. An argument divided them, and the wound never healed.
What was the nature of the disagreement?
The problem was that both sides considered themselves the legitimate heirs of the original Brotherhood. We divide up the books, the relics, not always fairly or with consideration.
Who founded the Brotherhood?
That's precisely the kind of question I cannot answer. It is delicate and may reveal some of our secret traditions.
So you're not just a club of academics and scholars.
Once upon a time, very long ago, the Brotherhood did more than simply study the vampires. They took actions to eliminate the more ferocious and corrupted.
Okay.
Is there anything you could tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
Aloysius Dawson. Yes, of course. We met on several occasions. With time, he got deeper and deeper into the occult.
He's not the only one. It's been quite the fashion for several decades. The Golden Dawn, for instance, is just one example.
True. Aloysius was a member of the Golden Dawn until 1900. Then his thirst for dark knowledge grew. I'm talking forbidden texts, readings which blackened his heart.
Okay.
Goodbye, sir. Until we meet again.
I rarely wander, yet it amuses me to converse with your kind. Perhaps London will survive the epidemic, but I see terrible trials awaiting in the future.
Okay. Jetzt muss ich mal ganz kurz gucken, ob wir hier alle jetzt kennen. Wir haben alle kennengelernt. Jetzt können wir ganz entspannt zu Mr. Dawson gehen. Wenn wir den Eingang finden. Zu seinem kleinen Anwesen. Aber das ist doch eine Kirche hier. Und nicht sein Anwesen. Doch. Das würde mich wundern. Das würde mich sogar sehr wundern. Aber, mir fällt gerade ein. Geistesblitz. Emily wird vermisst. Das haben wir doch hier. Irgendwo. Nee, das ist da unten. Da kamen wir nicht rein, ne? Stimmt, das war das, wo wir nicht reinkamen. Gut, dann heraus, ob Ushers Telchers Notiz ist, die Wache von Priven gestohlen hat. Wo ist das? Auch nicht da. Irgendwas haben wir auf jeden Fall hier. Haben wir nicht irgendwas hier gehabt? Nein. 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 In Emilys Haus. War das nicht das hier? Ja gut, anscheinend nicht. Das war sie, die wir finden mussten. Hier unten im Keller, na klar. Ja. Meine Lieben, ignoriert meine Verpeiltheit. Unterschrift freigeschaltet. Sehr schön. Diese schwingbaren Türen hier immer, ne? Das finde ich irgendwie interessant. Alle Türen gehen nach außen und nach innen auf. So. Gehen wir hier hoch. Oh, 140, 162. Ah, okay. ...62, 140. Das wäre dann bei 210. Und das hier bei 140. Ich würde sagen... Da reden wir gar nicht lange drüber. Sondern machen einfach, ne? Da fehlt uns einer. Ein einziger. Welche haben wir denn ausgerüstet? Die haben wir ausgerüstet, ne? Schaden 10%, Nachladezeit 25%. Feuerkraft, Schaden. %, wechselt zu Feuerschaden. Besonders bei Bestien und Vampiren effektiv ist. Wechselt zu chemischen Schaden, der besonders bei Menschen effektiv ist. Ah, okay. Schaden. Zusätzliche Schockpunkte. Okay, ist auf jeden Fall Level 5. Das ist schon mal ein guter Vorteil. Das muss ich sagen, ist schon mal ein sehr guter Vorteil. Ja. Wir gehen einmal zu Mr. Dawson. Oder wisst ihr was? Das tun wir nicht. Wir werden jetzt noch einmal ein bisschen leveln. Was sieht der fertig aus, der Typ, ne? Alter Schwede. Alter Schwede. Autophagie. 2700, das wäre gerade so eben machbar. Haben wir voll. Das noch nicht, da fehlt uns noch einer. 2000. Machen wir. Ausdauer erhöht auf Maximum. 1500 haben wir nicht mehr, wir haben noch 600. Okay, 700. Meine ich, würde ich. 1600. Schnelle Regeneration, 20% Heilung. Sehr gut. Dann verlassen wir die folgende Nacht. Okay. Erschöpft? Bitte alle nur erschöpft. Kopfschmerzen, Erschöpfung. Kopfschmerzen. Kopfschmerzen. Oh nein. Erschöpfung und Migräne. Okay. Oha.